Oh, wow. Give me 1 second. Okay. Alright. We're good. I just had to make sure everything was up and going because I have like fully rebooted my computer and yeah, whatever. It actually doesn't even matter. So I'll start off by apologizing. I am sick. Um, I got sick at Kairos. I think it's because I'm just allergic to the amount of bullshit I was hearing there. Um, but it's okay, it happens. Um, so yeah, this podcast is just me. I might do another one on this topic where I bring people in and have them talk about their experience or what they thought about it. I don't know yet. It just depends. Whatever you guys want. Um, Also, would like to start off because he has asked me to, and I'd like to shout out my English teacher, Mr. Waz. Um, Man is the goat. I love him, bro. Low key, not low key, high key. Like all bullshit aside, um, I hate English with a passion. I think it is the worst class ever. Um, that and math kind of go hand in hand, but he's probably he's probably my favorite English teacher. I'll be honest. And like having him in his class and the way he does things, um, definitely make me not hate English as much as I normally do. Um, so yeah. Anyway, shout out to you, Mr. Watts. Um, all right. So in this podcast, we're going to talk about Kairos, the big retreat we just all went on. If you go to my school. Um, so for those who don't know, the definition of Kairos is God's time. Um, I think they said it's Greek. I don't know. I really don't give a shit what its origin is. It just means God's time. Okay. Okay. Um. Yeah. And I was forced to go. I've talked to many people about it. People who have been to the one I've gone to. People out of different states who go to. Um. Private schools who have been. Um. A lot of theirs are not mandatory. Like mine is a graduation requirement. I have to go. Others is optional, as it should be. Because I feel like the Catholic faith already forces enough shit upon people. Um, this is just one more thing that drives people away, but it's okay. Um, yeah. So thank you, Tank. Um, so a lot of people that I've talked to say it is very cult-like. Um, Funny enough, actually, as soon as we first got to Kairos and everybody sat down, our priest, went up and talked about it and said, a lot of people say it's a cult. It is not. Um, I feel like if it wasn't, it shouldn't even have to be addressed. Um, I could I could definitely see how a lot of people would say it is like a cult. I personally think it was quite similar. There's a lot of odd things going on. Um, yeah, I don't know if I gave a warning already. Um, but for those who have not been, out of respect for you guys, this is your warning. I will be talking about Kairos, so if you do actually give a shit and would like to experience everything firsthand and not know anything and da 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 da, whatever bullshit, okay? Then click off. Don't watch. Um, if you do not care, because quite frankly, nothing that special happens, then be my guest and continue watching. Um, Alright, so let's get into things. Um, I'll talk a little bit about myself first. So growing up, I actually was a Catholic and a Christian. I've always gone to a private school ever since preschool up until now, which is my senior year in high school. Um, yeah, so as a little kid, I was always very Catholic, very much had a strong faith life, yay Jesus type stuff. Um, I actually wanted to be a priest. That was actually my goal as like kindergarten, first grade, second grade maybe. I wanted to be a priest. I thought it'd be cool. Um, as I got older though, some shit happens. You start to see different things. You start to be a little more logical. So, I faded away slowly up until the point where I'm at now, where I want nothing to do with it. Um, the teachings that they teach are very wrong. If you actually sit there and if you've read the Bible and you actually pay attention, the shit they teach is very messed up. Um, so yeah. Anyway, I am now a pagan. Um, for those who don't know, I'm not gonna explain it. Look it up if you're really that interested. Um, okay, so let's get into it. Day one. All right. Sunday morning. I had to be at the school by 8 a.m. I think the buses were supposed to get there by like 8:15. Yeah, no, it didn't happen. They were there by like 8:40. It was horrible. I was up early. I was mad. Everybody was kind of mad. The buses weren't even on time. It was kind of a shit show. Um, People were slamming like monsters and bangs and whatever else, Red Bulls. Um, yeah, so when we first got there, we were all greeted by people standing outside, which were the leaders, the kid leaders, and they're playing some Jesus music, and they're all waving and congratulating you because you're about to stay a few days and go through hell on earth. Um, um, yeah. So you get there, you walk down the halls, they tell you where the boys' rooms are, where the girls' rooms are. On the door is your last name and the last name of your roommate because you get a roommate. Um, yeah. So when we first got there, that's what happened. I went and got my room, put my shit down. You know, Obviously I already knew who my roommate was because I've known the guy for a while. So, said what's up, yada yada, whatever. Um, yeah, and then instantly it was like, right away, kind of like boom, boom, boom. We had to go upstairs, and we were all sat down, and was it assigned seats? It was. I don't remember how. I don't remember how they gave us the assigned seats. I don't know. The first day was all kind of like a blur, but they gave us our assigned seats. Sat down, whatever. Priest came up, talked about kind of the basics, what's gonna happen, just like a quick little brief of everything, and then right away, we were given notebooks and folders. And, we were told a lot of people are going to be giving speeches. A lot of the kid leaders and adult leaders. Um, we had to take notes. I, Whatever. Um, so yeah, I started off very quick with one of the kid leaders giving a speech. All these speeches, by the way, all the same, in a sense. All about different topics, but it's all about hard times in their lives and how they found God and how God helped them through it and how we should, seek God in these certain ways and whatever. Just a bunch of horse shit, really. I mean, I appreciate, them sharing their stories and, I respect for that, but it's just the whole God thing. It just, yeah, I'm good. Um, so yeah, we had our first speech and that was that. And then we got assigned into small groups, which was just smaller subgroups of 8 people, 4 boys, 4 girls, one kid leader, and then one adult leader. Um, so at the end of each speech, we'd all break down into our small groups, and basically we'd have to answer questions. We'd go around in a circle, answer questions, and usually about the speech. Um, I had a pretty interesting group. I was one of three who disagreed the with the faith. So I thought that was pretty cool. Not being the only one. Even though if I was, I wouldn't care, because I stick up for my values and what I believe in. But it's nice to have other people there who weren't fully and I don't know weren't whatever. Um, yeah. So after our first small groups, kind of got to know each other a little bit, talk about the speech, whatever, and we came back out, and basically all the first day was a bunch of talks in a bunch of small groups. Um, very boring, very very boring. Um, there was one of the questions though where we would get to open up like about our lives, which was kind of cool, I guess. Um, some people chose not to. I chose to. I did. I don't care if people know my story or my history or what I've been through. It just doesn't bother me. Um, so I shared that. Um, yeah, bunch of talks, whatever. Then we had a mass, which was also just incredibly boring. Very, very boring. And then to end the night, they had our parents. Actually, we had another speech, and the room was dark, and there was candles lit everywhere. And then we had another adult leader give us a speech about I actually don't remember. It was about something. and and then they had our parents write us letters, and then they read them out loud in front of everybody. And I mean, it was sweet, I guess. I think it was very pointless. I feel like as a kid, you should know your parents already love you. For me personally, I don't really have to hear it. I don't really care if they say it. I don't. It like doesn't bother me. I don't know. Like just sitting there listening to someone read me a letter my mom wrote in front of everybody. I was just kind of like, yeah, okay. I mean, one, it's a little weird in front of everybody. Two, my mom's already told me this stuff before. Three, I see what my mom does for me. I don't I don't necessarily need you to sit here and read me a letter. And also they had one of the kid leaders come by with a box of tissue and sit right next to you, and they had the box of tissue right there. Yeah, that was basically the end of day one. Day two, where is it? Mm, before we go any further, I did actually take notes while I was there because I kind of had this not planned, but I was like, I want to remember this because I think it is very twisted. Um, I said, here, they don't understand you can't force Christianity upon people. If it is a true religion, then why would people have to be trapped into it? And what do I mean by that? People who are born into it, forced to private schools, or if you are a Christian, you tend to not have any other knowledge about any other religion because you are so brainwashed into believing that that is the true religion and the only religion that matters to you, which is fine, I guess. I mean, if that's how you want to live your life, go for it. Um, Yeah, and then it is also a trap because they understand, especially kids, teenagers nowadays, don't believe that garbage, and a lot of them. I feel like you tend to see a lot more atheists nowadays, which I also don't think is great. But I would say atheism is better than Christianity by far, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, the whole point of it, basically, this is the whole point of the retreat. Um, and if you didn't see it, here you are. This is hopefully a wake-up call to you. I thought it was very obvious. Um, so the whole point and how they try to force and push their beliefs onto you is if you are how you are right now, calm, normal, you're gonna think normally, right? So if someone comes up here and just starts spewing this whole bullshit, Jesus God, I don't know, some random dude turned 5 loaves of bread and fed 500 people with it. I don't, I don't remember the full story how it went. Something along those lines. It was bread and fish. And they get you to believe that shit, right? The only way you can get someone to believe something that they normally would not believe if they were thinking logically is to get them to think emotionally. It's almost like manipulating, right? It is very twisted if you really think about it. So how do they do that, right? They have these leaders come up and tell emotional stories about their lives in the lowest point of their lives, right? But then how God, came through and was able to save them. And I mean, there's people who, were like, damn, like some of them stories were touching. Even, sorry, me talking about it, I think the allergies are coming back, just remembering the amount of bullshit I had to hear. Um, yeah. No, even for me, listening to some of the stories, some of them were like, damn, that's pretty deep. But I'm not a normal person, and I know that. I uh, I don't get emotional about that stuff. I try to always think logically rather than emotionally, because emotionally you tend to do things very impulsively. I think this is just kind of common knowledge. Um, so real quick, I will give you the definition of emotion and logic. All right, emotion are strong feelings such as love, anger, hate, fear, or joy. Logic is proper or reasonable way of thinking. I think everybody has a point and time in their life when you are very emotional. You tend to not make the best decisions. Um, and yeah, so I mean, the whole point of this was to get you emotional, so then they can talk their bullshit. So then you can sit there while you're crying about how miserable your life is or whatever it is, and then think to yourself, oh, maybe God can help me, just like they've helped, all the people who told their stories and how sad their stories were. And oh my God, my life sucks, and I need God. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. So just stop and think for a minute. Just stop and think, not with your emotions. Think with your brain, your logic. Um, I mean, oh, we'll get into that later. But yeah. Anyway, so day two, we get woken up, um, and we start off the day with a meditation in the chapel, and they sit there and talk about Jesus, and close your eyes and picture yourself somewhere, and then Jesus comes out of nowhere, and you feel how warm he is, and you take his hand, and you feel safe, and yeah, whatever. Again, trying to get you to use your emotions, feel warm, feel safe, not think. logically. Everything is based off feeling. Um, yeah, and then we had more speeches, more small groups, just kind of rinse and repeat shit over and over again. Um, yeah, then we had mass towards the end, and then right after mass, we had an hour-long adoration. For those who don't know what adoration is, as Catholics, you believe that the bread that you receive in mass is the physical body, the flesh of Jesus Christ, a man who has been dead for 2,000 years. Yes, that is his flesh. Normally you eat it. Why we consume someone else's flesh is beyond me, but normally you eat it. Um, and then they also have wine, which is magically turned into Jesus's real blood, and normally you drink it. Um, Very odd, very strange things. I don't know. If you stop and think logically, those things do not make any sense at all, but it's okay. Yeah, so adoration, basically you have the bread. It was put into some gold object. You go to your small groups, put in the center of the room on a table, and normally you're supposed to sit there and pray, but there was a cross you could pick up, and you could pray if you wanted out loud. And I mean, it's just very odd. It is very, very odd to me, sitting there with a piece of bread in the middle of the room. That's supposed to be another dude's body, and I'm supposed to pray to it. I don't know. Whatever. Um, yeah. So then after that, I don't know exactly what happened after that, but to end the night, I remember we had speeches where we could they let any one of the kids go up and talk about what they thought of Cairo so far. A lot of people went up, oh, it's been a great experience, getting to open up with everybody. That was a very common thing people said, actually, getting to hear other people's stories and open up and being able to talk. I understand, some people need that. Personally, the way I look at it, what's happened in the past has happened. You cannot go back and change it. Nothing you can do going forward can alter what's already happened. So by me sitting there telling people about my problems, telling people what has happened in my life, why I am sad, why I am this, why I am that, sitting there talking to people about it will not change a single fucking thing. Simple. There's nothing that person can say or do will will change anything. Um, I mean, even you go to therapy, there's nothing that person can say that will help you change your past. I don't know. I thought it's common knowledge, but a lot of people, I guess, just don't understand that concept. But that's fine. Um, yeah. So we get to give speeches. Came a point. Some people were going. A lot of people said, they thought they weren't gonna like it, but then they ended up liking it. Some people getting emotional because you gotta. That's how they get you emotions. Um, it got to the point where I had a bunch of people looking at me because everybody knows how I feel. Everybody knows. Everybody wants me to go up in front of everybody and say how I feel. So I said, fuck it. You know what? I did. I went up and gave my speech. Basically, what I already told you at the beginning, and how the retreat actually pushed me further away from the faith because of exactly what I've been explaining. Um, because of how it is very, to me, manipulative to get you emotional and then to push their agenda upon you. Um, Yeah, so that was the end of day 2. After my speech, I was told the priest there, okay, instead of clapping, you had to do spirit fingers. Fucking dumb. Don't ask me. I don't know. But it was this, okay, and that's what you did after the end of each speeches. It's like clapping, but you just weren't supposed to clap. And I was told the priest didn't do that for me, and I was, one of the only ones he did not do that for, which is fine, whatever. Um, I just find it amusing. Um, yeah. So that was the end of day 2. Day 3, we really didn't do anything, to be honest. We had a few speeches. It was just kind of a waste of time. Um, and then we got to go home, and yeah, it was whatever. Um, Overall, it was a horrible experience, to be honest. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Um, I I don't need I don't need to talk about my problems with other people. Me personally, I don't need to. Oh, shut up, Rune. I don't need to. Um, fuck was I saying? Okay, I don't need to talk about my problems with other people because other people cannot change those problems that have already happened. Um, I think that goes for everybody, really. I mean, if you have stuff built up inside and you don't know how to deal with it, sure, but I also feel like that is your own problem. I mean, I don't know, it might be harsh, but I feel like that's just the way it is. Um, yeah, I don't know. But trying to get closer to God, which was the whole point of the retreat, um, was horrible. Didn't work at all because when you have a group of people there who don't believe or who struggle in that faith, and then you go up and tell them, well, the book says this, and God says this, and Jesus taught this, how is that going to convince me, someone who doesn't believe, that that is right, and now I should believe in God if I don't believe in it in the first place? And that's what a lot of Christians struggle with, is because a lot of them just say, well, oh, well, the book says this, and well, God says this. That's fine, but I don't believe in the book or God. So why would what the book says or what God says matter to me at all? Um, yeah. So basically, to sum it all up, um, the experience was terrible. Everything was very forced upon, especially the fact you were forced to go. Oh, I forgot to mention, I think you're supposed to turn in your phones, I think. I don't think I mentioned that, but yeah, you're supposed to turn in your phones. And if you don't, and they see you with your phone, they take it. So not only are you forced to go to something you don't want to go, now if you don't comply with the rules in order to get closer to God, to remove your distractions, they will force you to try to get closer to God, and they will remove those distractions for you. Um, right, because taking something I didn't want to turn in the first place and forcing me to do something and give in something I don't want to in the first place will very much make me want to comply now. Yes, you are right. But this is just how Christians think, and it's fine. Um, yeah, it's whatever. So basically, that's just gonna be the end of this because I'm still sick and my throat is very irritated right now. um, if you'd like another one where I bring people in who went and then talk about their experience there, let me know. I will gladly do that. Um, yeah, outside of that, thank you guys for watching. So if your child is doing your homework and you take away their iPad so they can do their homework, you think that is wrong. You are comparing homework to a religion. Homework is a necessity. religion is an option. You need homework to pass the class. You need to pass the class in order to move further in life. I do not need God or Christianity in order to develop further in my life. You look at people like Elon Musk or I don't know who else. Even Andrew Tate. Even Andrew Tate wasn't a believer. He was an atheist for a long time. They all made it in life, and a lot of them do not believe in Christianity. God can take you further than education. If that's what you believe, that is fine, but that is wrong. It is simply wrong. I mean, if that was the case, then why go to high school? Why go to college? But you have to. Otherwise, you'll just be a bum on the street who begs for money and then says, God bless you, because he's a believer in God while he's sitting on the street sorting crack. But that's fine. So no, to answer your question, taking away a kid's iPad in order to do their homework is no problem with that. But when you force me to go on something that is all about God, which I don't believe in the first place, I have alternative beliefs, and then try to remove objects that I do not wish to give up because I do not believe in what you are trying to force upon me, yes, I think that is a problem. That is a major problem. But that is all Christianity is. It is forcefully trying to do things because they think it is their mission to go out of their way and convert everybody into Christianity because Christianity, is the only true religion, even though it is one of the last religions to come about. And the only reason Christianity spread, if you really go back, hold on. If you really go back and look, the only reason Christianity spread was because people like Christopher Columbus came to America. This is why it's so big in America. He came to America because he did not agree with the way, um, where is he from? Britain. God can do miracles here on land. What do you mean he can do miracles? I mean, a miracle is something you simply can just not explain, and all you do is just slap God's name attached to it because you can't explain it. It doesn't make it. It doesn't make God real. Anyway, the only reason Christianity is so big in America and in Europe is because Christopher Columbus came from, I don't remember where he was from, um, came to America because he did not believe with the Christian teachings that were being taught over there. He didn't agree with some of them, so he made his own, right? This is all Christianity is, right? Christianity is the only religion that has so many different branches, right? Because there was one, right? But then someone over here didn't agree with this, so then they made their own branch, Lutheran, right? It's Christianity. Someone didn't agree with this, and then they, made their own over here, Protestants. Someone, didn't agree with this, and then went over here and then evangelical Christian. It's bullshit. You cannot just sit there and make up your own religion. I think it is ridiculous. Um, for instance, the Ten Commandments is very prominent in the Bible, and a lot of Christians believe, right? The Ten Commandments. If the Ten Commandments were real, because the Ten Commandments in the Bible, right, were written by God Himself with His own finger, He carved it into a stone. Where are they now? Why can they not be found? They just magically disappeared. You can do this with countless things in the Bible because there's millions of things that are in the Bible that just so happen to magically vanished. They're just gone. It's crazy how that works. It's just ridiculous. I don't know. Um, Anyway, yeah, Christopher Columbus came over here. He didn't agree. So then he took the Native Americans, right, who had their own separate religion, and he said, if you don't believe in our God, then we will slaughter you all. This is also seen in Europe, right? Or in Scandinavia with the Vikings. They were all killed because they didn't want to be Christian. You can see this with the Aztecs when France came over. You see this everywhere. The only reason Christianity is big is because of how big and powerful they were, and they could do whatever they want. And they ran shit. Really. It was, if you don't join us, we will kill all of you. And that's what happened. So all the houses that were present in 1446 on your street magically disappeared, I guess. What does that even mean? That makes zero sense. Anyway, as I mean, of course things change over time. Okay, but that arguing with Christians is actually amusing to me. Um, but things change over time, yes, but that doesn't mean objects of the Bible just magically disappear. Like the Ten Commandments, which just so happen to be written by God, which is one of the only things we have that was quote unquote touched by God Himself. It's just gone. How's a singular rock going to survive? Because Christians protected it. They had it in the Ark of the Covenant. They carried it everywhere, and it was protected. It in the Bible lived on forever. Why would it not be protected? In the Bible, I mean, you can follow it up until a certain point, and then they don't talk about its whereabouts, and just that is what you need to live by. I mean, I have no problem arguing this stuff with you, but if you're going to argue about it, at least, I don't know about the topic or know about what's. I mean, I can't just argue in circles and then bring up houses in 1446 and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so that was the experience on Kairos. Um, yeah. So maybe a part two. Thank you guys for watching and see ya.